this light this morning. It's just starting to catch it on the buildings.
Yeah.
So you can get the crazy graffiti.
Well, you know, that's also the stuff that I was talking about. Like, I wrote that in my review, I think, for like the next 2 years. And it'll be a long clip, and then we'll cut it up into separate scenes, knowing that, you know.
It might be, you don't even notice it. All right, look at the camera.
3, 2, 1.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Ah, there you go.
Yeah, there we go. Oh, look, it even got my camera in it.
Yeah, because look, the focus is pretty good, too.
The flash needs to be brighter. All right, you want to paint?
Yeah.
Well, why don't we do this then? Why don't we?
Okay.
So, all you gotta do is press this button here.
Okay. 2, 1.
This is a pharmacy. The studio B12 is part of the agency. It's not like it's a separate company or something like that. Allison and I have worked together for most of those 18 years. It has not been often that I have ever had additional storage for a studio at all. So this makes it easy for us to bring things in and out as needed and kind of not keep it. But there, there's a workflow class, right? So what did I do last night? My son Luke and I made sure that everything was working. We made sure that everything was charged up. We made sure that everything, so we did a lot of work last night. And then what we did when we got here this morning is that we're going to be working in, for the most part, complete darkness. You'll see it doesn't have to be exactly dark because we're going to be. Now, as the other thing, preparing for this workflow, we knew we were going to be battery powered, so we were very careful to make sure we charged everything before you guys got in here. These particular tiny lights do not take, you can't plug them in. You can only battery power them. But you can see, if you were gonna do this on your own, we're gonna do this because we have a lot of people working here, but you can move this light around and experiment all you want, right? So, all right, we wanna make sure that we separate the subject a little. Let's make sure that we use white light, which this is. And then for this one, all we've done is add this diffusion dome, right? Because the straight light was just a little too harsh. It was leaving stuff on the face, or the painting to happen behind that person. So there's two ways to do it. In this particular case, we are firing the flash first, and then we're painting. So the flash is gonna pop, and then you'll have 5 to 8 seconds to paint in the background, depending on the exposure that we use. So we were setting this up this morning, and we were shooting, and we were like, wow, all right, it looks okay, but it's screwy. Why is everything soft? It shouldn't be soft. I mean, you have to try to sit as still as you can while the person's painting. But what was happening that I didn't realize is that there's a control up here for the modeling lights. So if the modeling lights are on while you're doing your light painting, every little movement of that person is going to show up, which is why Luke is softening these. See, like, they kind of look cool, but he wasn't as sharp as we wanted him to be. And you can see too, we were playing with like cyan light on that side, and we had white over here. But really what was happening, even here, was because the modeling lights were staying on, right? Then when now you see how crisp that is, because we turned the lights off and it was just the flash fire. Same thing here, right? So now I'm nice and crisp.
So
Here's-
it was triggering the modeling lights to come on only during the exposure. You weren't noticing it.
Right,
otherwise, so-
right, and there's like a thing on that, you gotta like turn it off. Here's something to consider as well, right? And I'm gonna show you all these different light sources that you can choose from. This is this thing, right? So this one is a little more complicated, it does a little more, it's got all kinds of stuff you can program in this one. As a matter of fact, this stick has a slot for an SD card. And we haven't done it yet, because I just got this. But you can put images in here and literally paint with imagery and type behind the cursor. Okay, so for this one, there's all kinds of controls on here. It's almost too much to learn. So what we're gonna do is just choose a color, green, right? And then if they can do this in the back. One of the things to remember about these, may I have that flashlight, please? Is that these work best kind of when these ends are pointed at the camera. So if you're gonna be in the back, you can even hold them open and try to get some of that stuff going, but kind of pointing in like this, right? This is what we were saying before about how it's gonna light the face. So
This,
and
and then the
greener.
white tip ones will be a little bit more, or the full white ones will be a little bit more.
Okay, so let's have her get in the chair. And you said you wanted to be framed a little closer?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, no, this is great. Like I said, it doesn't always have to be facing the camera.
I have a question. If you like want the light painting to be a little bit blurred, can you open the
Shutter?
Uh-huh.
The f-stop?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you want it to be,
with the ND filter?
or in this case, you could just turn the flashes down, right? So if I were to go from f16 at full power, which they are now, and you wanted like f4, so it was even more out of focus, then I would have to figure out a way to just keep cutting the power on the lights.
You say more
So for
like
every-
this, where it's,
Yeah, so for every stop that you open up to make it more blurry, then we would have to compensate by turning the lights down,
Oh,
because they're maxed out. That's a great question. All right, here we go. You ready? Oh, I like it. They have a plan. I like it. What I like to see. All right, here we go. All right, so again, they have 10 seconds to paint, so you can do more now.
so you get more, yeah.
We've closed down 2 stops in the hopes that the exposure will be correct. Count it down.
3, 2.
Okay.
That's good. If the exposure is correct, that is.
The waiting's the best part.
Wow.
Fascinating.
I like it.
So cool.
Love that background there.
Yeah. So it's interesting, right? The thing in the front is not really working, right? Because it's just not picking it up.
I mean,
You can see it. You can see it, but because I think a lot. So let's keep doing it until we get what you want. Let's.
Because it's not bright enough, or?
Do you want to switch?
Yeah.
Let's switch. That was one of the other things I wanted to say earlier too, like we were talking about safety and all that stuff, like ordinarily, it's like a lot of times I'll just be out, it'll just be me and Luke doing this, right? So it's even. All right, ready? And go. Go back again.
Ooh.
Interesting, right? It changes the whole mood when you have those opposite colors.
I like this the best.
Is blue the best?
Yeah, it's cool.
Let's see what happens if you do it. All right, let's try that. Ready? Do one more.
You get a little bit of both. So because you're doing the ball, you can start from that and then do the flash. You get a little bit of exposure with the flash, with the flash, with the flash.
So flash, color, flash, pull the color out. Okay, let's do that. So let's go to one. Flash.
Now, it's still gonna do it because it's open.
It's because of the over.
It's open.
It's already been
Yeah,
exposed
yeah.
to it. Yeah. That's good though. Shit.
I think maybe like. Okay.
Oh,
That makes sense. Of course, lighting you a little bit.
Oh, we're definitely gonna see you guys. We're gonna see you guys back there.
yeah. Look, you can see a little me.
Yeah, I could see coming out of his stomach.
Ah, all right.
So that's it, right? You can only paint on the
Right,
side.
because then you know where to do it. as
Right.
well, so yeah.
The other thing that you don't have to have is the flash. You saw what Rob was doing before, and we were doing with Luke earlier, right? You can just be out there and do those multiple exposures without the flash, and that has its own look as well, and you can paint in there. The problem is that when you do that kind of stuff without the flash first, it's hard to get it completely black, right? Because you're having the shutter open for so long that if the room's not completely black, it's gonna pick up any of the ambient light.
That
Just wanna
was really,
thank you.
yeah, thank you so much. It was a great thing, great to do it. So generous, so thank you.
And like I said during the class, you know, this studio is here. Jane's gonna be shooting in it hopefully until she leaves in April. So if you guys wanna come in and practice or do any projects or whatever it may be, Wednesdays are usually good. We usually do it on Wednesdays. All right? Cool. If you have any questions, you need any help with the classes or school, don't worry about it. Okay?
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Have fun in class tonight.
Nice meeting you all. Nice to meet you.
Alright, shoot's over. Dad's in a meeting. I'm doing cleanup. Feel me? You feel me? Simple shit.